Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I wish to thank the honourable member for the question. I thought I already answered the question in my ministerial statement. But however, government is particularly mindful that an escalation of the Iran-US conflict could further increase global fuel prices, disrupt international travel demand, and place upward pressure on import and transportation costs, which may adversely affect tourism activity and our export competitiveness. As a small and open economy that is highly dependent on tourism, trade, and imports as well, Fiji remains vulnerable to those external developments. Mr. Speaker, sir, revenue performance is so far in the current fiscal year, as I mentioned, has remained strong and above expectations. At the end of April, total revenue collections stood at around 2.9 billion, exceeding forecast by around 71.5 million, or 2.5%. So this positive outturn primarily driven by stronger than expected tax revenues, which more than offset the shortfall recorded in non-tax revenues. Collection from VAT and income taxes have continued to record positive trends as well, despite the reduction in the VAT rate, reflecting sustained business activity, resilient consumer spending, continued tourism-related activity, and the effectiveness of ongoing revenue administration and compliance measures. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, government recognizes that the outlook for economic growth is now increasingly tilted to the downside compared to the earlier projections, reflecting softer domestic and external demand, elevated living costs, and moderating investments activity in certain parts of the economy. So these developments are expected to place increasing pressure on revenue collection in the months ahead, particularly if geopolitical tensions and global uncertainties continue to disrupt trade flows, disrupt tourism activity, as well as having effect on international fuel prices. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my ministerial statement on Monday, I have highlighted that the ultimate impact on the global and our domestic economy will largely depend on the duration and the intensity of the conflict, as well as the time required for global energy production and supply routes to fully normalize. In light of this risk, Mr. Speaker, sir, government has been actively exploring a range of contingency measures and fiscal safeguards to ensure that public finances remain sustainable and that essential services continue without disruption. We already started to ensure that we do not fall into the adverse or severe revenue shortfall. And as I mentioned, we already started, and we have levels of persistence and price gates. Mr. Speaker, sir, government will continue to review and reprioritize non-essential and lower priority expenditures to ensure that critical public services, social protection programs, and key infrastructure investments remain protected. We will look at the expenditure level and what action we can undertake on the emergency level or cash flow projections, which currently on normal to alert level. A number of expenditure containment measures have already been implemented across government. This includes a 20% pay reduction for ministers and members of parliament, a freeze on new recruitment within the civil service, tighter control on government vehicle usage, and reductions in travel, workshops, conferences, and other operational expenditures. Next is to see further cuts in expenditures or savings on CAPEX that we foresee that can be deferred or reprioritized. And if it worsens further cuts will be put in place. And as leaders, further cuts again will begin with us. On the revenue side, government is further strengthening revenue administration and compliance measures to safeguard collections during this period of uncertainty. This includes enhanced tax compliance activities, strengthened customs monitoring, improved arrears collections, and continued investments in digital revenue administration system to improve efficiency and reduce leakages. Government will continue to closely monitor cash flow positions and maintain prudent borrowing strategies to ensure that financing and liquidity needs are met at a sustainable level while managing fiscal risk responsibly. And the Ministry of Finance is also actively engaging on the external front with the multilateral partners, including the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and others to secure financing support for the next financial year. At the same time, government continues to work closely with domestic institutional investors, including Fiji National Provident Fund, and the broader financial sector, including Fiji Development Bank, to support government's financing requirements for the upcoming budget. And Mr. Speaker, sir, our fiscal space as well is one of the main determinants. But overall, we have measures for well-sequenced and incremental response. But our key measures will continue to target both our economy and our people. Mr. Speaker, sir, government remains vigilant and continues to monitor both domestic and international economic developments. And I wish to share that preparation for the 2026-2027 national budget is progressing well, and government will continue to prioritize the delivery of essential services, including healthcare, education, social assistance, and critical infrastructure, while ensuring that support continues for businesses and vulnerable households during the period of global uncertainty. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I thank Honorable Immanuel, the Minister.